Welcome back to another episode of That's Business. Today, you're going to hear from yours truly. And let's talk about what happens when your world falls apart. So, if you've known me for a minute, you follow me on any socials, you've seen lately that your girl has been going through it. It has just been quite the quarter, quite the last few months, really, if we're being honest. And I really wanted to talk about what to do in these situations when your world just feels like everything is happening at the same time. You can't keep up and everything is just for just on fire. I mean, that's the crazy part. So, giving just a little bit of context and background, I'm very much used to be someone that would bottle everything up. I had a friend deal with such tragedy early when we were young, and she put it in perspective for me that my problems are not that big of a deal, or it always could be worse. And she never made me feel bad about it ever. It was just that what she was going through was so much deeper than what I was going through, and it was a big thing to just kind of keep it inside. We're not big feelings family. If you come from an immigrant family, I mean, we're old school Italians. It's you have a problem, say it, but we're not ones to really talk about feelings, I would say. But growing up, I was more of a, oh my gosh, it's fine. It's fine. Nobody wants to hear about my problems. I don't want to talk about myself. I don't want the attention on myself. I don't want to do this. If you would have told little Angela she'd have a podcast where she gets on and just like talks into the void, I would have laughed in your face. So as I grew up, going to college, I had the awakening of people like give a shit about me. Why don't I tell them how I'm feeling? I had a few relationships with close friends kind of fizzle out who didn't really care about me, and I had that inclination throughout high school. And then college, I call it trauma, call it what you will, but I had a really shitty relationship. Like, oof, still in therapy for it. It's fine. But it was 2 back-to-back bad relationships that made me realize, what's the point? Why am I going to let some mediocre man tell me how I should be, how I should act, what I should do? Because at the end of the day, it still didn't work out, even though I did everything they air quote wanted. And it doesn't matter. That's the crazy part. So I go through college. Now looking back, I clearly had depression, but I never got it diagnosed until late 20s. And just kind of coping with that. I mean, my coping movie was The Breakfast Club. Instead of going out some weekends, I would just watch it, to the point now my mother will not watch that movie with me because I can quote it for you word for word. Like, I really could. It's insane. But that was my comfort. I was staying in my bed, watching The Breakfast Club, and starting the cycle all over. I'd burn myself, watch The Breakfast Club, stay home, have a depression episode, be fine again, go back out. And it's like never ending cycle until I graduated. So I graduated, I come home, move back in with my parents. I was privileged enough that they didn't charge me rent and my bills were low, so I could save to buy a house. And it just got worse. I mean, I got the big girl job. I was like, all right, well, I'm doing everything I want. Okay, cool. And I really liked that job. You've heard the trauma from some past podcasts about that gig, but I really did like that job. I worked with some of my closest friends. I actually had one of my best friends. I got him hired at the job. So I truly enjoyed going into work. Like, I loved that job. I thought I'd retire from there, but obviously that didn't happen after all the things that happened at that gig. But then I moved into another job. And at that job, I finally got a taste for what burnout in a corporate setting looked like. I was working nights, working weekends, always had my phone glued to me. I vividly remember walking out of a few dinners I had with friends just to take a call outside. Looking back, it was never an emergency. It was like, you need to call the client and candidate and ask them to do X, Y, and Z. It could have waited till the morning. But I made it my entire personality to focus my life around that freaking job. Because I'm a high performer. I had myself to prove to. I had people to prove to. And that's when I realized the Sunday scaries thing started happening, where Sunday would come and I'd just be an anxious ball of energy all day. Really never slept well because I was too anxious of what was going to happen the next day. And I would go through this cycle every single week. We had fun during the week. I mean, I'd go out with some friends, I'd see people, hang out with the fam, living my best life. But I was so miserable. I think I found my first gray hair around then too. So what's that tell you? But it just came down to even telling people I worked with that we would trauma bond over how miserable we are. And that wasn't helpful. And we'd bitch and we'd complain and we'd go out to lunch, go out to dinner, go out for drinks, and then let's start it all over again. Our boss would make us mad. Back to square one. And I didn't realize I was burning out until I took a vacation, went to Italy, and I had no choice, but I couldn't look at my email. Definitely didn't have the technology to do that. Didn't want to pay for the increased phone plan to be able to check emails because it wasn't that important. I was PTO, paid time off. So I did that. I was like, oh, let me just be here in the moment. Let me enjoy this, right? And that's what I did. The only responsibility I really had was I had one homework assignment from my master's degree I had to finish up, and I remember coming back from our tour to knock it out, and then went and met up with everyone back out when we were in Florence. But that was easy. I really enjoyed that degree, so that was no big deal. But when I came home and was fired, as you all know, I decided let's take this cute little business full time. And if you've heard this story, yeah, Angela, we get it. This is a different take on it. So, I got fired, came home, told the boss off, whatever, fine, great. Well, when I started getting I didn't realize I was burnt out from that job until I actually had a moment to sit back and I wasn't tied to anything. I mean, I told my friends and family because, I needed work because I was living paycheck to paycheck. I just bought this horrendous house from hell with every issue possible. But it was the fact that I slept, I think, for 3 days straight. I mean, I got up, did things, but sleeping 10 hours, 12 hours a day, which is not me. If you know me, that's not me. I'm a 6 to 8 hours a night girl, and I'm not a 12 plus hour sleeper. So I do that. Okay, fine. I watch that show. I watch Peaky Blinders. I'd always wanted to watch it, but never had the time because even though I was home, it'd still work. So I was like, all right, I'll watch this show. Breeze through all 3 or 4 seasons that were out at that time. And then December hit. So this happens to September 2019. And I had worked on starting, getting some business. I figured out I had to make $100 a day to survive and pay all my bills. So I'd hit that most days. Then came December. Made the decision I was going to announce to the world why I really started this business. That a few months prior, I actually was fired from my job because I just told the in-group of friends and family. Not everyone knew. So then I put it to the LinkedIn universe and I put it out there that, hey, look, your girl was fired. Well, that's when the business really skyrocketed. I had so many clients. I was working 15-hour days. And this is solopreneur. So this is just me, myself, and I. I am just doing this business myself. So that happens December 2019. Okay, it's reasonable, fine. Well, what happened in March of 2020? The good old pandemic. Where people immediately were laid off. I mean, I don't know if y'all remember or were cognizant of this, but people were laid off March, April, May pretty quickly with the pandemic. And a lot of people found out because they tried to log in and couldn't. And then got the email of, oh yeah, sorry, we had to let you go. We're furloughing you. We're laying you off. And if you know me, you know I'm an empath. So everyone's trauma, everyone's stories, everyone crying to me on the phone, us trying to navigate what the hell is a global pandemic? How is this going to impact me? And I lived alone. I lived alone during this, and as someone who's an extrovert, this was extremely lonely. So I took all that, and now I'm working 15-hour days. Probably average. I counted before. It was 12 to 15-hour days. Burning out. I vividly remember one day, because I posted it on Instagram live, if I could knock out 10 resumes in a day. 10 resumes to rewrite an entire resume in a day. I did it. So I check in like, oh, resume 2 down. Oh, resume 4 down, whatever. And I did it. And it was so difficult. And I just could not keep up with it. And that's where I just began to shut down. So I'd miss some deadlines, had a few pissed clients, rightfully so, because I just couldn't do it. I was just, running on fumes. And I never understood how people were burnt out when they worked remote or just worked off their laptop, because it's not like, I'm serving, I'm bartending, or doing something that's transactional or, heavy on my feet or whatever. I truly never understood it until I worked that job before the job I was fired at, and then working for myself. Because what's the difference? Oh, it's past 5 o'clock. Who cares? Oh, it's 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 2 a.m. Okay, fine. I just won't get up till 8 or 10. I kept that cycle going until it was back the same PTSD from the business, from working in that recruiting job of like, well, what are you doing again? Now you're working for yourself and you still can't make it happen. What are you talking about? Why are you still burning yourself out? So I had to make some changes. And that's when I hired some employees. So I hired my first employee. Shout out to Destiny. We love you. Woo! And things were coming together because I had someone say, okay, write down all the tasks that you could train someone else to do that are not making you money. So when we think about that, we think about like administration, we think about like proposal sending. When we think about making money, it's the actual product or service. So the resume writing, the career coaching, the LinkedIn profiles, all that good stuff, right? So I hire Destiny, I freak out because I'm like, oh my gosh, am I going to pay her payroll? She's quitting her full-time corporate job to come work for me. Excuse me? And I was able to successfully take some time. So in my head, I'm like 8 to 5. I have to work 8 to 5, 8 to 5, 8 to 5, 8 to 5. I'm like, well, who makes my own schedule? I do. So I realized after a few years, I work better at night. I am not a morning person. Never have been. Don't know that I ever will be. I tried to do like the 5 a.m. wake up and work out and read a book and do all this stuff and meditate before 8 a.m. comes around. I just can't do it. It just does not work for me. And I've embraced that. So if you're starting your own gig and you're like, I need to do it X, Y, and Z way, no, you don't. You do it your own way, and that's what makes you successful. So we're going in. She's kicking ass, like doubling what we're doing, getting us more clients. Another 6 months goes by. I'm like, I need help again. But I was able to identify that because the same things were happening. The burnout was creeping up. It was kind of like knocking on the door, like, hey, I'm here. Hey, you're going to burn out again. Hey, you better get it together. And that's what was crazy to me, because I felt accomplished that I could identify these patterns, but also like, oh my gosh, how am I going to handle all this? So, hired again. You get the story. It happened 2 more times. You got it, right? So fast forward, we're in 2025. If you're listening to this in real time, we're in October 2025. And these last few months have just absolutely taken me out. I mean, health problems, family problems, financial problems, like, pick it. And it's happened. And through all this, I realized about a year ago, when people ask who you are, do you just say, oh, I'm good, how are you? And move on, right? We all naturally do that. Oh, I'm good, oh, I'm great, oh, I'm okay, great. Move on. That's what you learn in any language. In any language, it's hi, how are you? The first phrases you learn are words. But what happens when we actually tell people how we're doing? So I started to. And I've done that the last few years, but especially this year. So, as people have asked how you've been, what's been happening, I'm real. And if you know me, you know I got some dark humor. So I would say, oh, September almost took me out, but it didn't. Your girl's back. But that just opens the door to so many other conversations. When you can tell people how you're genuinely doing, and if they get like, ooh, I didn't actually care, stop telling me, not your people. If they take the time to follow up and do that, they are your people. Great example happened a few days ago. Texted my friend about his football team finally winning. Hadn't talked to him, we talk on social, it's one of those like social media friends. And I texted him like, oh my gosh, no way. Like, how excited are you that your team finally won a game? So he's like, so we're going back and forth. Oh, then he hits me with, how the hell have you been? How the hell are you? And I'm real. And I say exactly that. And then I kind of backpedal and I'm like, he probably doesn't want to hear this. Like, you're trauma dumping on him. But again, he's got the same dark sense of humor. Like, let's see. So we do. I'm real. Hits me back with like, always here to make jokes. Like, always here to like say the things no one else will. I was like, thank you. I appreciate that. No big deal, right? Yesterday he calls me. Then we have the real conversation. And we like go back and forth, catch up. And then he's like, okay, so tell me like really what's been going on. Like, I haven't talked to you, don't be a stranger, whatever. And I tell him. And we have this fantastic 40-minute conversation about life and chaos and craziness and things going on in his head with his kids and wife and everything. And it just was such a great conversation to have because you don't have those. I mean, he's an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. You just don't, you forget about to do those things of like, sit down, take the phone, call the people you need to, and tell them what's going on. And I felt so much better after that. And I still had myself a little cry session yesterday, and it's okay. But just remembering you still have so many people out there. I mean, even if it's a handful, you don't need everyone and their mother to know your business. It's your prerogative on that. But it's just so nice to have open and real conversations outside of the day-to-day. And as I've kind of looked back, and as I'm still going through this, and the future is still unsure on many things in life right now, I've tried to think about like what's really helped me, right? What's helped me kind of stay on track? What's helped me calm my nervous system down a little bit? And over the last few months of me not showing up as my 100% self, doing the work I should be doing as the business owner, what's really helped me was being transparent with my employees. And I told them before, I'm like, look, I don't know what's going on with this family member, my grandmother. I don't know. So I'm not going to be myself the next few weeks. And I just want to be abundantly clear about that. They stepped up, handled so many things, and tried not to bug me. And it's not even bugging me. Like, sometimes you just have to ask me. Like, you have to ask me. That's the nature of the business, right? But they handled all that they could. And then after 2 weeks of me just like going through it, I finally am like, okay, no, I'm ready. Like, I'm good. Let's talk. And they were like, we got this. Like, if you need anything, I'm like, no. I need to work. We have bills to pay, unless you're going to work for me for free, right? But in this time when I wasn't working, I wasn't just sitting there kind of sulking. I mean, I had my fair share of cries, but it was getting back into things I like doing. It was reading a book. I think I've read more books in the month of September than I have in all year. It was doing a puzzle, which has always calmed me down for as long as I can remember. It was doing a puzzle. It was putting myself out, not out there, but doing the things that brought me happiness. It's around Halloween. It's my favorite season by far. So just thinking about that. I put my phone away. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I left my phone on silent. Like, I wasn't constantly on my phone. I wasn't reading the news. I was just waiting. My texts piled up. I had, I think, 30 or 40 at one point, and I didn't care. But telling the few people I did what I was going through just really helped me. because it gets overwhelming. I mean, it's great having so many people that care about you, but it also gets to the point where it can be overwhelming. So talking through things, being transparent, just communicating. I have such an incredible therapist that we meet every 2 weeks. And I just say, well, let me tell you what's happened the last 2 weeks. We have a meeting right after this. It's having someone else's perspective that, yes, cares about you and supports you, but is unbiased, has been so crucial. I mean, it's just the different perspectives of I have my therapist as one. I have my partner who is truly just an angel on this earth. I have my employees, and I have a little bit of everywhere in between. But telling people what I wanted to and not feeling like and maybe we call it selfish, but telling them how I was really feeling and what was really going on in my head just like changed my perspective on a lot of things, and it just helped me. I'm still going through it, as I mentioned. I mean, I'm not through the weeds. It's not over. I don't know. Maybe the next podcast will be me crying. Who knows? Or maybe it'll just be like, oh my gosh, everything worked out. But I'm here to say you're not alone. I mean, things still feel on fire. My blood pressure is totally through the roof. Right now I'm sitting here. It's at 127 beats per minute. It's fine. And the anxiety doesn't go away. It doesn't just like, whoop, it's gone. And that's okay. And I'm here to say, if you're going through it yourself, just the biggest tips are be transparent, check with your energy, and just understand what's going to help you to heal as much as you can and get through it. So if you're feeling this way, just know you're not alone. There's plenty of us out there. Everyone's got their own stuff going on. And I hope we just have a beautiful finish to this year. I hope we have a gorgeous and plentiful start of 2026. And I hope that anything that's bothering you just clears up. The things that are meant to leave your life will, and everything else going on. But just know, I'm here, your friends are here, your family's here. If you feel alone, no, you're not. Reach out to people, tell them how you feel. And you find out who the real ones are. And as always, you can reach out to me. And do what's best for you and nobody else. If this resonated with you, please let me know. I love hearing it because we need some type of group together. But thank you again for listening to That's Business, and tune in again next week for another episode.